My name is Tom. At 31, I find myself reflecting on a life that feels all too ordinary. I work at a marketing firm. It may not be extraordinary, but it helps me make ends meet. I live in a cozy little apartment in the heart of downtown, surrounded by a few cherished friends, and I truly feel a sense of contentment with the way life is unfolding. I've discovered a sense of solace in the embrace of routine. Pouring my energy into work, finding strength at the gym, and cherishing those moments with friends over drinks on the weekends. It was a life that felt simple and predictable, but everything transformed in an instant one fateful night. It began like any other evening, yet there was an unspoken promise in the air. A small group of friends came together at a cozy local bar, sharing laughter and drinks, creating memories that would linger long after the night ended. Everything feels just as it always does. I found myself in a heartfelt conversation with Eric, my dearest friend since our high school days. He's the type of person who effortlessly appears to have it all figured out. On the surface, his life appears to be flawless. A thriving career, a loving partner by my side, and a cozy home filled with warmth. All eyes are on him, and people can't help but believe that he has everything one could ever desire. And for the most part, I suppose he truly does. And then, she appeared. Molly, his beloved wife. She arrived at the bar later, her demeanor slightly unsettling. Eric, as always, was unmistakably himself. But Molly, she felt like a breath of fresh air. There was an unsettling feeling about her, a quiet dissonance that I couldn't quite identify at first. She seemed to be lost in a world where joy had faded away. Her eyes darted around the room, a sense of anticipation hanging in the air, as if she were yearning for something or someone to appear. That was so unlike her. Eventually, Eric had to go, citing an early meeting or something like that, leaving Molly behind in the quiet aftermath. I barely gave it a second thought. The night was filled with laughter and camaraderie as I savored every moment with my friends. But then, as the clock struck midnight, Molly approached me. "Hi there, Tom." She gently tapped me on the shoulder, her touch lingering with warmth. "Would you be able to give me a ride home, please? It would mean a lot to me. Tonight, I just can't bear the thought of waiting for an Uber." I was completely taken by surprise. I was aware that she and Eric resided not far from the bar, yet it stirred a sense of unease within me. We weren't really close, we were merely acquaintances sharing the same circle of friends. How could I possibly say no? I wholeheartedly agreed. "Absolutely, of course," I exclaimed, flinging my jacket on with a mix of urgency and determination. We strolled together to my car, each step filled with unspoken words and shared moments. Throughout it all, a sense of strangeness lingered in my mind, tugging at my thoughts. It's not something that happens every day when your best friend's wife reaches out to you for a ride home, is it? Yet, she was merely a friend of a friend, nothing beyond that. As we settled into the car, the silence enveloped us, heavy and profound. Molly sat in silence, her words trapped within her, unspoken and heavy in the air. I stole a fleeting glance in her direction. She gazed out the window, her mind adrift in a sea of contemplation. Words eluded me as I concentrated on the road ahead, desperately trying to dispel the unsettling sensation that something was amiss. "I really appreciate you giving me a ride," she murmured softly after a moment. Her voice lacked the familiar confidence that usually defined her. It felt gentler, as if it carried the weight of weariness. "Of course," I responded, trying to keep the mood light and easygoing. Yet, the way she uttered those words stirred a deep curiosity within me, leaving me to ponder if there was something deeper beneath the surface. As we arrived at her house, my heart raced with anticipation, but she remained still, not making a single move. "Everything is all right?" I found myself asking, my heart heavy with uncertainty about what this all meant. I just need a moment," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. Her eyes were shut tight, and I could sense the tension etched on her face, as if she were desperately trying to contain something deep within. It felt as though she longed to be anywhere but home. She felt trapped. I found myself at a loss for words, torn between my desire to comfort her and the fear of overwhelming her. I sat there, heart heavy, allowing her the space she so desperately needed. It felt strange, being there in the car with her, surrounded only by the soft hum of the engine idling. My mind was consumed by thoughts of her, as if she were ensnared in an invisible cage. But why? But why did she need to ask me for a ride home in the first place? It felt so wrong. At last, she slowly opened her eyes and gazed at me. Her gaze held a weight I had never seen before, far from the familiar warmth and distance I had come to expect from her. This time, it resonated deeply, as if there was a profound meaning hidden beneath the surface. "Tom, I need to share something with you," she asked, her voice trembling like a fragile leaf in the wind. I was at a loss for words. "Of course," I said, forcing a lightness into my voice that I didn't truly feel. A deep instinct whispered to me that her words would bring me discomfort. And then she confided in me, her voice trembling, "I just don't know how much longer I can keep pretending that everything's okay. Together with Eric. He's not the person you believe him to be, Tom. He's a stranger behind a mask, hiding the truth of who he really is." I was utterly astonished. What was she trying to convey? Eric was my closest companion. He was the one who seemed to have everything perfectly in place. Yet here I was, listening to Molly share a perspective that felt like a stark contrast to everything I believed. It felt utterly incomprehensible. She pressed on, her voice quivering with emotion. "I'm utterly exhausted from wearing this mask, Tom. And the most painful truth is, I believe my heart has found its way to someone else. A person who truly sees and comprehends the depths of my soul. Someone who truly understands me." A heavy knot twisted painfully in my stomach. What was she trying to express? Could it be that she was speaking about me? Confusion washed over me, leaving me uncertain of how to respond. She let out a heavy sigh, her gaze locked onto mine with an intensity that spoke volumes. "I never intended to cause pain, but I can no longer bear the weight of this deception." I found myself at a loss for words. I felt completely lost, unsure of what any of this truly meant. I found myself lost, unsure of what my next step should be. I remained in the car, my mind racing as I struggled to comprehend the weight of Molly's words. Her words lingered in the air, thick and heavy like a shroud of fog. I felt an unshakable weight upon me. I found it impossible to meet her gaze. As I gazed at the steering wheel, a whirlwind of thoughts threatened to spiral beyond my grasp. What was she trying to express? Could it be that she was truly revealing her heart, admitting that her love belonged to another? Was this a heartfelt plea for assistance or a subtle form of manipulation? Molly shattered the stillness, her voice quivering ever so slightly. "Tom, I realize this might come off as a bit wild. I truly apologize, I never intended to burden you with this. I'm feeling so lost, and I really don't know who else I can turn to." I inhaled deeply, seeking to find my balance amidst the chaos. Everything about the situation felt deeply unsettling. She was bound to Eric, my closest friend. How could I possibly find the right words to respond to something like this? I attempted to clear my throat, hoping to project calmness, yet my voice revealed my inner turmoil. "Molly, I'm at a loss for words." I finally mustered the courage to look at her, my heart racing with unspoken words. Her gaze was fixed on her hands, anxiously twisting them together in her lap. "This feels overwhelming." "I know," she whispered, her gaze lifting to meet mine. "I never intended to burden you with this. I've been carrying this weight for what feels like an eternity, and I'm at a loss for where to go from here." She sank into her seat, her head gently cradled by the headrest. I could feel the heavy burden this was placing on her heart. The heaviness in her shoulders, the restless movements of her hands. It was evident that she was fighting an uphill battle. She felt so trapped, and my heart ached knowing I was powerless to help her. "He doesn't know me, Tom," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "He has no idea who I truly am beneath the surface. He never truly hears me. He feels so far away. It feels as though we're merely drifting through life, almost on autopilot, doesn't it? It feels as though we are mere strangers cohabiting a space, rather than the loving husband and wife we once were." I sat there, utterly bewildered. Is that you, Eric? The man who always appeared to have everything in perfect order? The one who captured everyone's admiration? He fell short of being the ideal husband. How can that possibly be true? How could it be that Molly felt such deep unhappiness with him, when to the world, their life appeared so perfect? At first, I remained silent. Silence enveloped the moment, leaving us with an aching void of unspoken words. In that moment, an overwhelming urge surged within me, compelling me to speak up. Molly, I'm at a loss for words. I always believed that the two of you shared a deep happiness together. Her face contorted in a mix of frustration and despair, and she shook her head in disbelief. You just don't understand. What you perceive is merely a reflection of Eric's carefully curated reality. Tom has always been this way. He only thinks of himself. He conceals his true self. I poured my heart out to him, but it feels like my words fall on deaf ears. I feel so trapped, Tom. Her words struck me with an intensity one never saw coming. The weight of tension pressed heavily against my chest, a palpable reminder of the emotions swirling within me. Confusion clouded my mind, leaving me lost in a whirlwind of emotions. My heart was heavy with uncertainty, leaving me lost in a sea of doubt about who I could truly rely on. Molly, I just feel so lost. I've shared countless moments with Eric over the years. I've never witnessed him in such a way. I urged you to find a way to make sense of it. Yet, a heavy knot twisted in my stomach. Could it truly be that Eric is the very person Molly spoke of so passionately? It felt utterly incomprehensible. He's not the person you believe him to be, Tom, she said again, her voice tinged with desperation. You can't possibly understand him the way I do. The impact of her words struck me once more, heavy and profound. Thoughts swirled chaotically in my mind. Is it possible that this is real? Is it possible that Eric is concealing something so monumental? But why was Molly sharing all of this with me? Was she yearning for compassion? Or was she truly reaching out, hoping to help me see? As I stole a glance in her direction, it struck me like a bolt of lightning. Her weariness was palpable, etched into every line of her face. Her eyes were swollen and crimson, shadows of despair lingering beneath them. She stood on the brink of despair, and I found myself unsure whether she was seeking my guidance, my comfort, or perhaps something deeper that words couldn't capture. Yet, I found myself lost, unable to grasp the depths of her true desires. I sat there, engulfed in uncertainty, my mind racing with indecision. My heart raced wildly, and my thoughts whirled in a chaotic dance. This was more than just a simple exchange of words. This was a heartfelt confession. A desperate plea for assistance. I was completely at a loss for words. It felt as though she could feel the weight of my uncertainty. I'm not asking you to change a thing, Tom, she whispered gently. I felt an overwhelming urge to share this with someone. I could no longer wear the mask of pretense, convincing myself that all was well. I felt completely lost in how to navigate this situation. I felt utterly lost when it came to understanding Molly's emotions, and the things I was hearing about Eric only deepened my confusion. Uncertainty gripped me, and I loathed the feeling of being so lost and overwhelmed. At last, I found the courage to speak, my voice barely above a whisper. Molly, I may not fully grasp the depth of your struggles, but I truly believe that reaching out to Eric could be a vital step for you. I feel so helpless, I can't be the one to mend this. Her gaze met mine, and I could see her expression melting into something tender. I understand, she murmured, her voice trembling, but I just don't know how to find my way. I'm not sure I even desire it anymore. We lingered in silence, the weight of the moment stretching between us. The world beyond felt like a distant dream, almost unreachable. I felt utterly lost, unsure of how to reach out to her, and the uncertainty of what this all meant for my own life weighed heavily on my heart. Yet, deep down, I felt an undeniable truth: this was only the start of something extraordinary. At last, she faced me, her gaze brimming with unspoken emotions. Thank you so much, Tom, for being there and truly listening. I found myself at a loss for words. I simply nodded, and as I stole a glance at the clock, a wave of realization washed over me, highlighting just how much time had slipped away. The hour was growing late. It's already too late. I found myself caught in a whirlwind of uncertainty, questioning whether my actions had truly brought about a brighter outcome or plunged us deeper into turmoil. Yet, one undeniable truth lingered in the air: everything had irrevocably changed. It broke my heart to leave her there, but deep down, I understood that I had no choice. "I must leave," I whispered softly. "It's time for you to take a moment and find some peace and rest." She remained silent, choosing not to contest. She simply nodded, and in that moment, I felt a surge of determination as I turned the key and started the engine. Yet, as I drove away, an undeniable sensation washed over me, a profound realization that something had irrevocably changed. A monumental moment awaits. And I was completely unaware of the journey that awaited me. I drove home in a haze, my mind swirling with Molly's words and an overwhelming sense of disbelief washing over me. How is it possible that everything shifted so rapidly? In an instant, I found myself driving my best friend's wife home, and suddenly, I was thrust into a situation that left me feeling lost and uncertain. The conversation echoed in my mind, playing over and over like a haunting melody. Molly's heartfelt revelation shattered my perceptions. Eric was not the man I believed him to be, their marriage was a facade, and, most poignantly, she confessed her feelings for me. Everything crumbled around me, yet deep down, a part of me grasped the profound significance of her words. She felt a profound sadness, adrift in a marriage that no longer brought her joy. I could feel it in her voice, witness it in the way she expressed herself. But did that truly mean I had to step in? I found myself unable to simply brush it aside. I could sense that Molly was battling her own demons, and despite my desire to turn a blind eye, I found myself unable to look away. We shared an undeniable bond, even though I often found myself lost in uncertainty about my place in her life. The thought of having to face my best friend, my brother in arms, about all of this felt utterly overwhelming, almost beyond my grasp. All night long, I lay there, restless and unable to find peace, caught in a whirlwind of thoughts. That day, I didn't even reach out to Eric, a small ritual I cherished whenever I found a moment to breathe. I had always stayed connected, always been there for him, the one person who had never failed me. But now, everything had changed. I felt lost, unsure of my place in his life. The following morning, I immersed myself in my familiar routine, desperately seeking distractions to fill the emptiness within me. The work felt unchanging, a relentless cycle of emails, meetings, and looming deadlines that never seemed to fade away. My mind felt like a whirlwind, making it nearly impossible to concentrate. Each time I glanced at my phone, a flutter of hope surged within me, wondering if Molly would reach out with a text or a call. And then there was that haunting question that lingered in my mind. Should I share this with Eric? Is it right for me to share the truth with him about what Molly revealed? It was never my intention to cause Eric any pain. He was my closest companion, and I felt the depth of his love for her. Yet, deep down, I understood that I couldn't simply act as if nothing had transpired. The boundaries of right and wrong were fading away, becoming increasingly indistinct with each passing moment. As the clock approached lunchtime, my heart raced when I finally received a text from Molly. "I hope this doesn't make things more difficult, but could we have another conversation? It's about what I shared with you last night." The message weighed heavily on my heart. I gazed at it for what felt like an eternity before finally finding the words to respond. A part of me longed to brush it aside, to banish it from my thoughts, yet I found myself unable to do so. I felt an urgent need to uncover what she truly desired from me. I replied with a message. "Absolutely. When will it happen?" Her response came in a heartbeat. "I'll be waiting for you at the coffee shop close to your office in just an hour. Would it be possible for us to meet?" I acted without a moment's doubt. Deep down, I felt an undeniable pull to be with her. A piece of my heart yearned to comprehend, and perhaps, just perhaps, a flicker of curiosity ignited within me about the direction this journey might take. Yet, deep down, I understood that the moment I laid eyes on her again, I would be stepping into a territory that filled me with uncertainty and hesitation. The moment I stepped into the coffee shop, my eyes instantly found Molly, and my heart swelled with warmth. She sat alone at a corner table, her hands cradling a steaming mug, gazing into it as if it held the answers to her unspoken questions. Her expression was a mystery, yet the tightness in her shoulders spoke volumes. I approached her and took a seat right across from her, feeling the weight of the moment between us. "Hello there." I spoke softly, attempting to appear nonchalant, even as my heart raced wildly within me. "Hi," she whispered, her voice softer than I had ever heard it. Though her gaze remained fixed downward, I could sense the weight of her struggle. "I never intended to add to the complexity, Tom. But I just feel lost and unsure of how to navigate this situation." I nodded slowly, my heart racing as I anticipated her next words. Doubt crept in, making me question whether I truly belonged in this moment, speaking to her. Yet, deep down, I sensed an undeniable need within her for someone to truly hear her out. "I've been reflecting on my words from last night," she continued, "and I realize now that I probably shouldn't have spoken them. I realize how unfair it is to place you in this situation, but I simply can't continue to pretend, Tom. I felt so deeply unhappy for what seems like an eternity, and I can no longer bear to live in this facade. Yet, deep down, I fear causing Eric any pain." Once more, the deep emotional turmoil that had burdened her for what felt like an eternity resurfaced. She was caught in a whirlwind of emotions, struggling between the deep feelings she had for me and her unwavering loyalty to Eric. The weight of the situation was palpable, and her expression revealed the struggle within her heart. I fell silent for a few moments, grappling with the weight of my thoughts, unsure of how to express what was in my heart. I felt compelled to share with her that perhaps this was merely a fleeting moment, that she was navigating through a challenging time, and maybe, just maybe, her words didn't reflect her true feelings. Yet, deep down, I understood that it wasn't right to her. I couldn't possibly understand her experience. I had never experienced the crushing weight of being ensnared in a relationship that felt so stifling, where every breath seemed to echo the despair of being utterly trapped. "I'm at a loss for words about what you might want to hear from me." I finally spoke, my voice trembling and barely rising above a whisper. "I truly don't want to add any more weight to your shoulders, Molly. I simply cannot be the one to determine the path you choose for your marriage." When her eyes locked onto mine, I felt a spark of something extraordinary, something I had never seen before. Openness. She had transformed from merely being my best friend's wife into something far more profound. She was a woman adrift in a sea of uncertainty, desperately searching for a glimmer of hope to guide her home. "I just needed you to truly listen to me," she whispered, her voice filled with vulnerability. "Tom, I truly don't want to make choices I'll look back on with regret, but I can't continue to wear this mask of everything being fine." Her words wrapped around me like a heavy blanket, their meaning sinking deep into my soul. It broke my heart that I couldn't mend this for her, and I felt powerless to make choices on her behalf. Yet, deep down, I sensed that I was becoming entangled in a situation that would only lead to greater turmoil for everyone involved. I rose to my feet, a whirlwind of uncertainty swirling within me, unsure of the words that would follow. "I truly believe we should take a moment to reflect on this further." Molly gazed up at me, her expression brimming with doubt and vulnerability. "Absolutely, you have a point." As I stepped out of the coffee shop, a whirlwind of questions swirled in my mind, leaving me feeling more lost than ever. What am I meant to do now? What was the best choice to make? And above all, what was this deep, stirring emotion blossoming within me? The days that followed seemed to slip away in a haze. The weight of the conversation I shared with Molly lingered, impossible to shake off. Every time I laid eyes on her, it felt as though a heavy burden was crushing my heart. She felt far away, yet it was a distance unlike any I had known before. Now, there was an undeniable depth, a profound complexity that tugged at my heart, demanding my attention. Her words echoed in my mind, haunting me with the realization that Eric was not the person I believed him to be. And yet, deep down, I had always seen Eric as a steadfast and unwavering friend. He was the one who stood by me through it all, unwavering and steadfast. It was utterly bewildering to hear Molly, the epitome of strength and composure in my eyes, utter such words about him. Yet, as I delved deeper into my thoughts, a wave of curiosity washed over me. Was there something I was unaware of? Could I truly place my trust in Eric as I had always imagined? Shaking off the doubt felt like an impossible task, and with every message from Molly, my mind spiraled deeper into confusion. All I ever wished for was to stay clear of anything that might shatter the bond one have with Eric. Yet, how could I possibly abandon her in her time of need? Her pain was palpable, and it pierced my heart each time our eyes met. On that poignant Friday afternoon, Molly reached out to me once more, yearning to know if we could meet. There was a haunting fragility in her words that caused me to pause each time, leaving me torn between my feelings and the weight of her emotions. Deep down, I realized I shouldn't be getting involved, yet a part of me felt an undeniable pull. If I chose to turn away, I feared I would forever remain in the dark, never grasping the truth of what was truly happening. Our paths crossed at that familiar coffee shop. This time, I felt a deeper sense of readiness for whatever lay ahead. Or at least, that's what I believed. She sat at the table, just like every other day, lost in thought as she gazed into her coffee. Her face bore the weight of exhaustion, more than I had ever recalled. Her eyes were shadowed with dark circles, revealing a deep exhaustion that spoke of sleepless nights. Yet, when she caught sight of me, a gentle smile graced her lips, but it failed to illuminate her eyes. "Hi there." She greeted me, her voice trembling with emotion. "I truly appreciate you taking the time to meet with me once more." I took a seat, striving to maintain a sense of ease amidst the weight of the moment. "It's absolutely fine. You mentioned that you wanted to have a conversation." With a gentle nod, she inhaled deeply, filling her lungs with a sense of calm. "I've been lost in my thoughts, and I'm feeling so uncertain about what to do, Tom. I'm not sure how much longer I can endure this existence." Her eyes shimmered with a haunting blend of desperation and regret, and for a fleeting moment, my heart ached for her. I couldn't allow that to overshadow my clarity of thought. I needed to remain clear-headed, for the sake of both of us. "I can't bear to keep putting you in this difficult situation," she continued. "Yet, I sense that I'm slipping away, and I'm at a loss for how to mend this. I'm not sure if I have the ability to make it right again." I leaned in closer, my heart racing as I absorbed every word. I could see the weight of her struggles, yet my heart was heavy with my own unanswered questions. What was it that she truly sought from me? Though her words remained unspoken, an undeniable pull enveloped me, leading me toward a path I wasn't prepared to tread. Did she truly believe I would take the weight of her choices upon myself? With a hesitant voice, I turned to Molly, uncertainty weighing heavily on my heart. "I'm not sure what I can do," I admitted. "I truly care about you as your friend, but I feel lost when it comes to finding a solution for this situation. This is a journey that only you and Eric can navigate together." Her eyes drifted down to the table, and for a fleeting moment, she appeared to be adrift in her own thoughts. "I know," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "But the truth is, I feel like I can't open up to Eric anymore. I've really tried, Tom. I've desperately tried to help him see the pain in our situation, but he just can't grasp it. He's always poured his heart and soul into his work, leaving little room for me in his world. I've done my best to hold on, but I'm weary. The ache of waiting for something that may never arrive is becoming unbearable." A wave of sympathy washed over me, tugging at my heartstrings. I completely grasped the depth of her frustration. I had witnessed the deep passion that consumed Eric as he immersed himself in his work. Yet, when she expressed it this way, it pierced through him like a dagger, shattering the trust and love they had painstakingly woven into their shared existence. Even so, I felt her longing for connection, as she sought someone who would truly listen to her heart. But where does that leave me now? Have you had a chance to share your feelings with him about this? I gently inquired, hoping to guide the conversation back to something tangible and meaningful. She shook her head, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. "I feel lost and unsure of how to move forward. Each time I reach out, he closes the door on me. I feel like I'm reaching my breaking point, struggling to maintain the facade that everything is okay." My heart began to constrict, a heavy weight settling within me. The pain in her voice was impossible to overlook, a raw emotion that resonated deeply in every word she spoke. Yet, I knew I had to rise above that and not allow it to cloud my judgment. With a heavy heart, I whispered to Molly, "I can't be the one to mend this. It's really important that you reach out to Eric. You must express your true feelings to him, without holding back. You must deeply reflect on whether this marriage is worth fighting for." She nodded slowly, yet her expression betrayed a profound uncertainty. She appeared utterly defeated, as if the very notion of hope had slipped through her fingers, leaving her in a shadow of disbelief. "I don't know if I can," she whispered, her voice trembling with uncertainty. A profound silence enveloped us, the gravity of her words lingering like a thick fog in the atmosphere. I found myself at a loss for words. I felt a deep urge to reach out and provide her with a sense of solace, to assure her that brighter days were ahead. Yet, I found myself unable to make that promise to her. This was a challenge beyond my reach. At last, I found the strength to rise. "Molly, this is a choice only you can make. However, I believe it's essential for you to deeply reflect on your true desires. And if that means facing Eric, then that's the path you must take. For your own well-being." She remained silent. She simply nodded, her eyes devoid of life. "I understand," she whispered gently, her voice trembling with emotion. As I stepped out of the coffee shop, a whirlwind of emotions swirled within me, leaving me in a state of deep conflict. A wave of relief washed over me, knowing that I had brought her some much-needed clarity. Yet, deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had only succeeded in making things even more difficult. What have I just done? A week had passed since that fateful meeting at the coffee shop. Back then, everything seemed to resonate with a unique energy. A heavy weight settled in my chest, an unsettling sense that I had irrevocably crossed a line. Yet, I couldn't shake the feeling that Molly was slowly slipping away from Eric. After that day, I caught glimpses of her a few more times. Yet, she never brought up our conversation again. She felt so far away. I found myself wondering whether she was still grappling with her emotions or if she was deliberately keeping her distance from me. The tension hung in the air, thick and suffocating, making every moment feel like an eternity. And then arrived the day when everything transformed forever. As I sat at work, lost in my own thoughts, a message from Molly suddenly lit up my phone. It was fleeting, yet it struck me with the force of 1,000 storms. "It's time for us to have a conversation. Would you be able to join me at the park?" In a sense, I had been bracing myself for this moment. She was undeniably fighting an uphill battle. A deep sense within me whispered that this meeting would mark our ultimate showdown. Conflicted emotions swirled within me, yet deep down, I understood that I had to take that step forward. No matter what transpired, this had to come to a close. The uncertainty had stretched on for far too long, and I could no longer endure the suffocating gray area in my life. With a sense of urgency, I departed from work ahead of schedule and made my way to the park, eager for a moment of solace. The afternoon was cool and inviting, with a gentle breeze that caressed the skin, refreshing yet perfectly balanced, creating a sense of comfort in the air. As I arrived, I found Molly already waiting, perched on a bench, her gaze lost in the vastness before her. Her shoulders drooped, and her face held a veil of mystery, leaving her emotions hidden from view. "Hey," I whispered gently, settling beside her. She gazed at me, her complexion ghostly, as if she were made of glass, delicate and ready to shatter. Her eyes were shadowed with dark circles once more, and it was as if she hadn't found rest in days. This was not the vibrant, self-assured woman I once knew. This was a soul in the midst of a heartbreaking unraveling. "I just feel so lost, Tom," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. "But I believe I've finally discovered the path I must take." I waited, my heart racing with a mix of hope and anxiety. What words were about to escape her lips? "Molly, if this is about," I began, but she cut me off, her voice trembling with urgency. "It's about everything," she interrupted, her voice filled with urgency. "It revolves around Eric. This is my story. It's all about my desires, my deepest yearnings. Her voice trembled, and she took a moment to gather her emotions. I feel like I've been wandering in the dark for what seems like an eternity, Tom. I believed I could push through, act as if everything was okay, but I just can't do it any longer. I can no longer bear the weight of this deception. She brushed away a solitary tear, yet it was evident that her emotions were far from over. Your words have been echoing in my mind. I really need to have a conversation with Eric. I must find the courage to share my truth with him, to lay everything bare. It's time for me to face the truth and no longer hide from it. I nodded, my heart swelling with a desire to uplift her spirit. That's a monumental step, Molly. You must find the strength within yourself, no matter what. It's going to be a tough journey. She let out a hollow laugh, one that failed to illuminate her eyes. I understand, but I can no longer wear this mask of pretense. I can no longer cling to something that isn't genuine. In that fleeting moment, we found ourselves enveloped in a profound silence. The gentle breeze whispered through the leaves of the trees overhead, while the joyful laughter of children echoed from the park in the distance. It felt strangely serene, as if the world carried on, blissfully unaware of the tempest rising within us. At last, her voice broke the silence once more. Last night, I had a heartfelt conversation with Eric. My heart raced, and I hesitated to ask, uncertain if I truly wanted to uncover the truth. He truly listened. For the first time, he truly heard me. She spoke, her voice gaining strength with each word. Yet, it turned out to be something entirely different from what I had imagined. He remained calm, his emotions steady and unyielding. He remained calm and open. He finally found the courage to say he was sorry. I furrowed my brow, a wave of confusion washing over me. What are you trying to say? Eric expressed his heartfelt apologies. He expressed his regret for not being present in my life, for failing to notice the signs of my unhappiness. He confessed that he had become so consumed by his work that he lost sight of what truly mattered. I was utterly stunned. This was not the Eric I once cherished. He was perpetually consumed by his career, relentlessly pursuing success, and I found it hard to believe he would ever allow himself to acknowledge a mistake. What comes next for us? I inquired with great care. I don't know yet, she replied, her gaze drifting into the distance once more. But I expressed to him how desperately I needed time to truly understand if we could rekindle what we once had. I expressed to him my deep uncertainty about remaining in this marriage if things continued on their current path. The air was thick with an undeniable tension. It felt like we were suspended in time, each of us holding our breath, yearning for a moment to unfold. In a sense, we truly were. Molly turned to me, her eyes filled with a deep longing as they searched mine. Tom, there's something important I need to share with you. Your friendship means the world to me. I've felt utterly bewildered, adrift in a sea of uncertainty. Yet, a profound realization has dawned upon me. My feelings for you run deeper than I ever expected. My heart pounded painfully in my chest. I had sensed this moment approaching. For weeks, she had been slowly drawing nearer to me in ways I could feel deep within my heart, but hearing her voice those feelings aloud transformed everything. It brought everything to life, and a deep fear gripped my heart. I can't, I declared, my voice unwavering. Molly, I just can't bring myself to be a part of this. I refuse to allow myself to become entangled in something that doesn't feel true to my heart. It's essential to pour your heart into your marriage and envision the beautiful future that awaits you with Eric. I wish I could be the one to mend everything for you, but that's not within my power. Her expression crumbled, the spark in her eyes dimming to a haunting shadow. For a fleeting moment, I caught a glimpse of pain in their eyes, but it was swiftly overshadowed by another emotion. Empathy. I understand, she whispered softly. I hold no resentment towards you. I truly needed to hear it from you. I desperately sought reassurance, longing to believe that my actions wouldn't lead to devastation. I inhaled deeply, seeking to find my balance amidst the chaos. You're not destroying anything, Molly. You're truly bringing everything back to where it belongs. For you. She nodded, her movements deliberate and filled with unspoken understanding. Her face set with unwavering determination. I feel the need to reach out to Eric once more. I'm uncertain about the future, but I'm determined to give it my all. I must do this. We rose to our feet, and I wrapped my arms around her in a warm embrace. A warm, heartfelt embrace that speaks volumes without words. All uncertainty between us had vanished. It was finally over, and she felt a surge of determination as she prepared to embrace whatever lay ahead. As I drove home that evening, an overwhelming sense of finality washed over me. Molly had made her heart-wrenching choice. She was determined to mend the rift with Eric. In that moment, after what felt like an eternity, a wave of tranquility washed over me. I was finally free from being trapped in the middle. This was their struggle to endure, and I had to believe that they would discover their path. All I could do was take a step back and watch them navigate their own path.